Ready to trade in those daydreams for some serious travel smarts.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Today, we're diving deep into my 50 best travel tips after 10 years traveling the world.
Okay.
And this isn't just some random list. This is like the wisdom of Matthew Karsten.
Oh, I know. Expert vagabond, yeah.
Right, the expert vagabond himself.
He's been everywhere.
He has. Over 60 countries, living that digital nomad life.
Yeah.
The whole deal. And the best part is he's learned a ton along the way. So hopefully we can learn from his experience.
Definitely.
And you know what really struck me right off the bat? Is he starts with this whole emphasis on patience.
Interesting.
Which, at first I was like, okay, patience, we've all heard that before.
Right.
But then I got to thinking, how many times have I gotten stressed out over delayed flight? Or trying to figure out a bus schedule in a language I don't understand?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in those moments.
Right.
We go into travel with these like picture-perfect itineraries, but
Yes.
the reality is it's messy.
It totally is. And Karsten, he even tells this great story about how he got stuck in Nicaragua like double the time he'd planned on being there.
Oh, no, really? What happened?
So he went there thinking he'd be there for like 2 months, ended up being 4 months.
Wow.
And he talks about how it ended up being this unexpectedly amazing experience.
I love that.
Because it forced him to just be present,
Yeah.
embrace the detours and the unexpected, and that actually leads to some of the most authentic travel moments.
Which is what it's all about, right? Those are the stories you remember, not the perfectly planned stuff.
Exactly. It's not about just like gritting your teeth and bearing it when things go wrong. It's like shifting your whole perspective
Oh, I like that.
to see those disruptions as like opportunities
Yes.
instead of just these annoying inconveniences.
All about perspective, isn't it?
It really is. And that's where I thought Karsten had this really interesting point about cultivating patience even before you leave home.
Ooh, that's good.
He was saying that if we can learn to navigate those little annoyances of everyday life, with a calmer mindset,
Right.
then we're going to be so much better equipped to roll with the punches when we're traveling.
That makes so much sense.
Right.
Because it's like, if you're already getting stressed out in line at the grocery store, imagine dealing with like a missed train or a language barrier.
Oh my gosh, totally.
You're going to be a wreck before you even get there.
Exactly. It's funny, isn't it? We talk about travel being all about freedom and like going with the flow.
Right.
And then we end up planning these trips that are just like jam-packed.
Oh, I know. Every single minute planned out.
Yes.
It's like, why are we even going on vacation at that point? We're just stressing ourselves out even more.
I know. And then you come home needing a vacation from your vacation.
Exactly.
But Karsten, he has this really interesting take on it. He actually says you shouldn't try to cram too much in.
Interesting.
He's all about quality over quantity, like really savoring the experience.
Oh, I like that.
He even compares it to like having a really nice meal. You wouldn't just like scarf down a gourmet dinner in 5 minutes, would you?
No, of course not.
You want to take your time, enjoy every bite.
Let it all settle in.
Right. And he says travel should be the same way.
So how does he recommend approaching trip planning then?
He says it's more about picking like a starting point, maybe a couple things you really want to see or do,
Okay.
and then leaving some space in between for spontaneity.
Oh, that's nice. So you have some structure, but also the freedom to explore.
Exactly.
Right.
And that kind of ties into his whole thing about connecting with locals.
Oh, yeah, that's so important.
He says even just learning a few basic phrases
Right.
in the local language can make a huge difference.
Oh, absolutely. Just showing that you're making an effort goes a long way.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
even if you butcher the pronunciation, it shows that you're trying and people appreciate that.
Plus, sometimes those language barrier mishaps make the best stories later on.
Oh, totally.
Okay, so we're embracing spontaneity. We're chatting with locals. What else does Karsten recommend?
So this one might surprise you.
Okay.
He's a big fan of guide books.
Really? I thought those were kind of a thing of the past, with everyone using their phones and everything.
Right, but he makes a really good point. He says he still uses them to kind of get a feel for the place, before he goes. Like the history, the culture.
So it's more about context.
Yeah, like you're not relying on it for every little thing once you're there.
But it gives you a foundation. I can see that.
Exactly. But of course, he's not anti-technology or anything. He's a digital nomad, like we said.
Right, of course.
And one thing he really emphasizes is using travel credit cards strategically.
Oh, yeah, the points game.
He's like a master at it. He was saying he got round-trip tickets to Argentina for under $300 just by using points.
Yeah, out. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to up my credit card game, clearly.
Right. And speaking of money, he's got some good budgeting tips, too.
Like what?
Well, he believes in traveling affordably, which I think is smart. But he also says it's okay to splurge on certain things.
Totally.
Like experiences that are really meaningful to you. You don't want to be like pinching pennies the whole time and then miss out on something incredible.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance.
Right. It's about being thoughtful about where your money's going. Maybe you stay in hostels instead of fancy hotels.
Okay.
But then you use that money you saved to do like an amazing hike or something.
I love that.
Or have an incredible meal at a local restaurant.
It's all about prioritizing.
Exactly. And speaking of being smart, he talks a lot about safety, too. It's like you can't plan for everything, right?
Nope. And Karsten's learned that the hard way, that's for sure.
Oh, tell me about it. Dengue fever.
Yeah.
Having his laptop stolen.
Sounds rough.
It makes you realize stuff happens.
It does. And that's why he's such a big advocate for travel insurance.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially after all that.
He says it's non-negotiable.
Sorry.
Because when something goes wrong, especially when you're far from home,
Oh, yeah.
it could be a real lifesaver. You don't be stuck with like a massive medical bill or something.
No, absolutely not. It's funny, we insure all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Our phones, our cars, but then we're like, I'll risk it with travel insurance.
It's weird when you think about it like that.
It really is. But, insurance aside,
Yeah.
he's also really big on just the basic stuff to stay healthy.
Oh, absolutely.
Like staying hydrated, getting enough sleep.
The simple things.
I know it sounds obvious, but it's easy to let those things slide when you're on the go.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
He even recommends bringing earplugs and an eye mask,
Smart.
just in case you end up in a hostel room with a bunch of party animals.
Oh, essential. We didn't even talk about his packing tips.
Oh, right. He's all about packing light.
That's an understatement. The guy went from a 70-liter backpack
70.
down to 40 liters.
What?
It's like half the size.
I know, right? He's got to have some serious packing magic going on.
Right. What I thought was really smart was his thing about multi-purpose items.
Oh, yeah, like what?
He talked about like a sarong.
Okay.
It can be like a beach cover-up or a towel
Right.
if you need it.
Makes you feel so resourceful, too. Like
Yeah.
you've got it all figured out.
Totally. But I like that even with all this like really practical advice,
Yeah.
he always brings it back to the heart of why we travel.
Which is.
He says it's important to put down the camera sometimes
I love that.
and just like really be present in the moment.
Because those are the moments you actually remember, right?
Exactly. Soak it all in.
It's so easy to get caught up in trying to capture the perfect photo for Instagram
Right.
that you forget to actually enjoy the experience.
Yes, 100%. For me, the biggest takeaway from all of Karsten's advice, it's really empowering.
How so?
Well, he talks about all those excuses we make for not traveling, right?
Oh, yeah. Not enough time, not enough money.
Exactly. Too much fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, most of the time, those are just roadblocks we're putting up ourselves.
I like that.
He's not saying it's easy to just drop everything and travel the world.
Right.
But with a little creativity
Okay.
and being willing to prioritize what really matters to us.
Yeah,
Most of us can find a way to weave more travel into our lives.
I agree. Even if it's not some big epic adventure.
Right.
Sometimes just exploring a new town a few hours away can feel like a journey.
Absolutely. It's all about that mindset, that sense of adventure.
Exactly.
So for anyone listening, thinking about where they want to go next,
Yeah.
or maybe feeling a little stuck,
I think the question is,
what's one small step you can take today to turn those travel dreams into reality?
love it.